The streaming world is a cutthroat place. Just ask Myth, who's lost 95% of his peak viewership over the years. What led to the decline of this once legendary Fortnite player? Almost every popular streamer has a specific game that helped them break into the scene. For a lot of them, Myth included, that game is Fortnite. He started playing the free-to-play Battle Royale before it became a worldwide sensation.
Competitive gaming scene will form for it, most likely. How big that scene will become, I don't know.
By the time Fortnite became a mainstream hit, Myth already had a ton of experience in the game, and his fans loved watching him take advantage of Fortnite's unique building mechanics to decimate his foes. He may have had a leg up on the competition in the early days of Fortnite, but that advantage didn't last long. As other gamers improved in skill and strategy, it slowly became clear that Myth wasn't the most accomplished builder or shooter in the game. He was one of the most famous ones though, which gave him the opportunity to face off against one of the only other streamers on his level of Fortnite fame, Ninja. In 2018, Ninja and Myth went head-to-head in Las Vegas, with thousands of dedicated fans cheering for them both. Myth underperformed during the match, running into problems with both his FPS and his Fortnite building.
I've just received word that Myth is down. Oh my goodness, folks.
Another early exit.
Ninja won the night, which became a turning point in Myth's competitive career. Fans no longer thought of him as one of the world's best Fortnite players, and some of them decided to move on to other streamers. In 2018, Myth pushed his limits as a competitive gamer and content creator by joining the competitive esports organization Team Solo Mid, or TSM. That organization gave Myth a home in the esports world, and being a part of TSM helped expose Myth to a whole new audience of fans who've been following the team since its creation in 2009.
Me being signed under a team, it's more like me fighting crime with my favorite superhero, you know what I mean?
Myth was an enthusiastic member of TSM for years, but he shocked his community in late 2021 by announcing his departure. Myth made the announcement in a post on what was then called Twitter, expressing his thanks to TSM and explaining his reasoning with, "TSM sort of lost that family feel that I had with it." The vibe at TSM wasn't the only reason Myth thought it was time for a change. He also explained, "I felt like I wasn't really utilized in an efficient manner. I stopped being someone that was in TSM content a lot.
I just kind of feel like we're just kind of here with each other, but not really doing anything, and I don't like that."
Ironically, by leaving TSM, Myth ensured that he got even less exposure online. As a solo streamer separated from a larger content creation organization, his reach suddenly dropped. When Myth's popularity as a competitive Fortnite player began to wane, he found himself in a difficult position. At the time, Fortnite was more popular than it ever had been before, but fewer and fewer people were interested in watching Myth actually play it. Myth had been at the right place at the right time when Fortnite took off, and he found himself trying to replicate that success with other new games. Instead of sticking with a single game and grinding it out, Myth started jumping from title to title. He spent some time in 2020 playing Valorant and saw his viewership spike to its highest point in years. His streams were averaging over 30,000 concurrent viewers at a time, but that peak didn't last long. After Valorant, Myth moved to other trendy games like Fall Guys and Among Us. Every time Myth moved to a new game, his channel saw a small spike in viewership as newcomers and old fans alike stopped by his stream to see what was new. None of those spikes came close to matching Myth's concurrent viewers when he was in his prime Fortnite phase, but they did help keep his channel going. Not long after leaving TSM, Myth made another decision that had massive ramifications for his streaming career. Like most other major streamers of the time, Myth started his career on Twitch, and he spent years streaming there exclusively. That changed in 2022. YouTube was making a big push for streamers to come to its platform, and many of them made the jump. On July 11th, Myth shocked his fellow streamers by joining the trend, announcing that he was leaving Twitch and his account with 7.4 million followers behind. In a minute-and-a-half-long video posted online, Myth revealed that he had signed a contract to exclusively stream on YouTube. He compared the move to his initial decision to pursue streaming instead of college at the beginning of his career.
Decisions have made me who I am, and this is my decision.
Even though plenty of other streamers were making similar moves, Myth's transition to YouTube was still a big risk. Unfortunately, it's one that didn't quite pan out for him. When Myth moved to YouTube, he almost immediately saw a decline in viewership when some of his audience chose not to leave Twitch with him. He essentially had to build an entire new community on YouTube. It took time, but Myth eventually managed to build a core following on his new platform, albeit one smaller than his Twitch following had been. If there's one person who's an honest expert in what happened to Myth's streaming career, it's Myth himself. For a long time, he didn't talk publicly about his dwindling viewership numbers or how he felt about his shrinking community. He eventually opened up about his feelings in a video titled, "This Is Why I Fell Off." In the video, Myth admitted that there were times where his lack of success felt crushing and left him crying before streams. He acknowledged his shrinking viewership, placing some of the blame on his Fortnite performance.
The main contributors to this were me not being able to keep up and kind of hold that position as being the Fortnite guy.
Of course, Myth eventually moved past Fortnite, but he still faced another self-inflicted barrier to success.
I personally was the type of person where I never wanted help. I never wanted to have to rely on somebody else for the answers.
Myth went on to explain that he now realizes how counterproductive it can be to work completely alone, especially in the streaming industry. Even though Myth's viewership has declined, he still has an enviable streaming career. There are plenty of would-be streamers who would do anything to have an audience of thousands. Myth's chat is smaller than it used to be, but the people who still hang out in his streams are dedicated fans. That's given him opportunities to try new things.
From Dearborn, Michigan, Ali Kabani!
After talking to fellow streamers like Ludwig, Myth started getting into boxing with other content creators. In 2022, he took part in a chess boxing tournament, winning his match against a YouTuber Churdleys. In 2023, he joined Creator Clash 2, a boxing tournament pitting content creators from across the internet against each other. Myth performed surprisingly well, scoring a first-round TKO against former Machinima team member Hunda.
We knew that we're going to come in and stick him with the jab. He broke down after those first few jabs and opened up everything for me, so grateful for that.
Apparently inspired by his performance at the event, Myth signed up for Creator Clash 3. His fans were beyond excited to see him compete against Kevin Ludwigigal, but the fight never came to be. In June 2025, Myth announced that he was dropping out, and the event was cancelled entirely the following month. Myth's fans are still wondering when they'll get to see him step into the ring again. Myth isn't the only streamer who's seen his viewership decline over the years. He's not even the only Fortnite streamer whose numbers have massively dipped. His early rival Ninja has also lost the vast majority of its viewers, and it's not just because Fortnite isn't the new hotness anymore. No one stays on top forever. But a big part of the reason Myth and other old-school streamers are having trouble keeping their numbers up is because of how stiff the competition has gotten. In 2018, streaming was still relatively new to the mainstream. Twitch was basically the only streaming platform, and there was a limited number of creators vying for attention online. Today, the landscape is vastly different. The platform space is more competitive than ever, with Twitch, Kick, and YouTube all fighting for streaming viewers. There are also infinitely more people streaming today than there were when Myth was at his most popular. The streaming world is full of rising stars and new niches like VTubers that simply didn't exist when Myth started his career. Some of Myth's old viewers have simply found new favorites and moved on. The most recent blow to Myth's viewer count was inflicted by the streamer himself. After 2 years of exclusively streaming on YouTube, his contract with the platform ended in 2024. His fans were excited to see if he'd sign a new deal with YouTube or move his streaming elsewhere. Instead, he announced that he was taking some time off. Myth was more than deserving of a vacation, but it's a known fact that streamers see their numbers drop when they step away from the computer for any length of time. He didn't seem too bothered by that though.
This is not a retirement video. At least I don't want it to be. I could go on a break and I could come back and nobody's there, and that's okay. I'll have to work for it again.
Myth's break eventually turned into an indefinite hiatus, so fans had no idea when to expect his return. After several months away, Myth came back to his channels, but things weren't the same. His YouTube videos and live streams performed worse on average after the break than they did before. Throughout 2025, Myth continued posting and streaming regularly, but he didn't manage to win back everyone who left during the break.